Pakistani developers, are you tired of constantly switching jobs or working on boring websites and WordPress plugins? Do you want to leave a legacy, something that you are proud to contribute to? I have good news for you. Codecast Pakistan is sponsored by Shadow Labs, and Shadow Labs is currently hiring. Shadow Labs is an award-winning tech startup formed in 2010. Shadow Labs is on track to disrupt the global legal industry. The best part is that Shadow Labs has its roots in Pakistan. Shadow Labs is the next Pakistani success story. It's like joining Kareem before it was Kareem. Shadow Labs has strong development and operations teams based out of Pakistan, and we are currently looking for developers across Pakistan. So if you are an HTML developer, Laravel developer, or full stack developer, listen here. We are hiring across senior and mid-level roles. We also provide different hiring options, including full-time and flexible part-time roles. If you want to build something that you're proud of, this is the place for you. If you want to be part of Pakistan's next biggest tech company, this is the place for you. Click the link below and fill out the form. And join the legal technology revolution and contribute to Pakistan's next biggest tech startup. Leave your legacy. Welcome to Codecast Pakistan. Codecast Pakistan is on a mission to build a community in the Pakistani tech industry. Our mission is based on the philosophy that community is what leads to collective growth. If we work together, we can grow together. Our focus at Codecast Pakistan is to bring diverse experiences and perspectives from the Pakistani tech industry. Today's guest is Hassam Khan. Hassam is an experienced tech recruiter based out of Pakistan with over 10 years of experience in the Pakistani HR industry. Hassam has hired Pakistani tech talent for local and international organizations, and he currently serves as the founder and CEO of Pakistan Recruitment. Thank you for joining me on the podcast, Hassam.
Thanks, Umar, for an amazing introduction, and thanks for inviting me. Firstly, looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you accommodating the time as well. We're both, I think, we're joining each other from across the world. I'm in Toronto myself, and Hassam, you're in Karachi, right? You're joining
Karachi,
from Karachi. Awesome,
exactly.
perfect. So the big city. So I wanted to. I was excited about this conversation because this is one of the first episodes we're having with someone who has experience in the HR space. Previously, we were speaking to a lot of software developers, experienced developers, people who had navigated from the position of someone who's a developer. And so the reason I figured you'd make a great guest is that because you have a very unique career journey. So you spent 10 years, worked with some big companies, freelance recruitment, and also now the CEO of your own company. Can you, for context for our viewers, just tell us a little bit more about your career journey beyond, I guess, the high level that I was talking about? So tell us, how did you get into HR?
Well, to be honest, that was not something which I decided myself. Like in every other individual, I started my master's in public administration, understanding that okay, this is something that I need to do because I need to get a job. So I started that. I completed that in 2012, and then I applied for different internships at different companies. Luckily, I got a position into an online B2B e-commerce company, and then my journey of HR started over there as an intern. So in 3 months, I got permanent, and then I got to know that what HR is. Luckily, I was into recruitment, so I got to know that okay, how does recruitment take place? So that journey started from that company, Trade Key, and then afterwards, it was like 4 to 5 companies that I worked in the last year. And then into last year, I worked for 2 different remote companies as the manager talent for different remote positions they have. So I had diversified kind of experience because I worked into local companies previously, and in last 1 year I worked 1.5 year I worked for 2 different companies. One was a US based company with the name Speckit. It was an e-learning enablement platform that was based in US, and I was working as a head of talent for them. And then later on, I joined a company which was the Dubai-based company. Another That was a company which was another startup, and it was based out of Dubai, and that was also a talent-based company. So my role into that company was also to manage their recruitment process. I was working in the capacity of manager recruitment, so I had that kind of experience working in the MENA market into that year, and that was a very new thing for me to know. And before that, I had obviously worked into different companies out of those 8 years. So I had understanding about North American market, MENA, Asian market, and some of Europe as well. So that was the basic
And
inspiration, I would say.
so was there any particular reason that you focused on the tech industry, or did that just sort of just happen based on the experiences that you were going through?
Yeah, tech industry was something which I decided in the year 2015, because in 2015 I left a company which was an NGO, and at that time I was seeing the focus of many of the advanced companies going into the IT side. So I decided that this is something which I should try. I took a risk. I thought that I do not need to be a generalist in HR. So that was a hard decision, a crucial decision in my life that I took, that I wanted to stay with recruitment only, and that specifically into technical recruitment, because I saw some spark into it, and I thought that okay, this is something, this might take me next 10, 20 years into the market at a good level. So that was a preemption. I was not sure what's going to happen next, but that was something which is into myself, that I take a lot of risk in life. So that was again a risk. So in 2015, I decided that I'll be going again into an IT company, and I moved back from an NGO to an IT company, and then I worked over there for 2 years in the capacity of recruitment and HR. So yes, IT was something which I decided in 2015 that this is something that would give me something into future as well.
And if you look back, so I think because you were saying it was a risk. When career decisions, business decisions, starting your own recruitment company, these are all different risks, right? And nothing is ever certain what's going to happen. How you're going to be able to navigate the results later on, whether it will succeed or fail. If you look back
Mhm.
over the last, even since you started your career, we've seen ourselves, having been in the Pakistani tech industry for many years now, the ups and downs. There's been a lot of cycles and economic environments that have impacted the tech industry generally. Would you say, two questions, I guess? Are you happy with the decision? And second question is, what is there anything you would do differently if you could go back and start your career again? Is there anything you would do differently, or what advice would you give your younger self?
Mm, Doing something differently, going back, I don't think I would not do too much different. I think the decision which I took at that time was good for me. Everyone has, to be honest, it is depending upon an individual's personality also. Like my personality is very outgoing. I'm very easygoing person. I like to communicate with people. Maybe I like more communicating with the new people compared to people which I regularly meet. So this is a different type of personality that I have. So for me, staying into recruitment, going into IT recruitment is something which was beneficial for me, and I think it is giving me good results now. And I do not think I would do something different than what I did, because obviously with the passage of time you learn things. And I think whatever I did was fine. I'm doing fine enough. Yes, I am taking very risky decision at times, but I think they did pay off. Like I was working with a leading company in Pakistan with the name Folio 3. I was working as a manager recruitment. I worked there for more than 3 years. I had 5 to 6 people under me, and it was an amazing experience. It is one of Pakistan's leading IT. But then I switched from there to another company, which was a remote company. I did not know much about them. It was a US based company. It was a company which was not very much familiar. I was not very much familiar about that company. But I switched over there just to get an experience. So experiences are very important for me. I think they have given me a lot of learning. Although, let me tell you the secret to you as well, that I have been laid off twice in my career. and that was also through two remote jobs. But I have learned a lot from that because this is the market, this is the industry that I am working in. So people at times ask me about the same thing, that what is the stability of a company. So my very Asumana response to them is that even Google and Microsoft are laying off people. So how could I guarantee you a company which is very stable? So to be honest, it is about how the industry is going. You cannot comment much about any company's stability. It is all about your decisions, what you are trying to do, what you are trying to learn from a company. Whatever time you work for them, try to understand that what your goals are. So yeah, I think this is something which I would say about this.
Now, I wanted to, before we go to the next section, I wanted to, so just for our viewers, for just some insight into the rest of the podcast, how what we wanted to go over was just pick Hassam's brain around advice for both sides of the hiring process in the tech industry, so software developers and then individuals hiring as well, so HR professionals, companies. But before we get to that, also just wanted to ask more questions around Hassam's career too, to get so you guys can get to know or understand his experience as well. So sorry, just to backspace a little bit. Let's say
Mhm.
there's an individual who is looking to enter the Pakistani tech recruitment industry today, right? So there's someone, maybe they're a fresh graduate, or they have a few years of experience in as a generalist HR, similar to how you transitioned into the tech HR space. What advice would you give them?
Very interesting question. So yeah, so IT recruitment again. I was there with sitting with someone else and discussing that into another podcast. That IT recruitment is still something not very commonly used in Pakistan. Like if you ask someone what you want to be in your career, they might say you that they want to be a doctor, an engineer, or a CA or an MBA. Or if you can talk about software engineering, that could be the latest thing that they could talk about. But you would not hear anyone saying that I want to be an IT recruiter. So this is something which is new, and that is why people who are into this industry are getting some recognition now, because you would not find many people having a decade-long experience into IT recruitment in Pakistan. So someone who is starting this career should think of it as a new buzzword for them, or maybe I would say that things like ChatGPT is a new thing for you. IT recruitment is a new thing for you as well. Think about it as a new career, as something which not a lot of people are doing. So when there is less saturation, you have better chance to get a job. You have better chance to get improvement into your jobs in the early stages. So if you want to come into this field as a career, it could be really good for you if if you are good at researches, if you are good at negotiations, if you are not shy away of going out of the box, if you are confident enough, if you have good communication, then obviously these things matches a profile of a recruiter, specifically IT recruiter. For IT recruiter, research is very important, I would say. So if you are able to do right kind of research, you will definitely be somewhere in the path of becoming a pro recruiter after some time. So yeah, as an initiator, you can, if you have those skills, and if you want to do something that not a lot of people are doing, because what a lot of people do is something which is easy. So if you want to come into that part, it would be a difficult path, but you can grow quickly if you are smart. So that's what I can
I, I
even advise.
I definitely agree as well with the sentiments too, because when you think about the job description itself, you need so much. It's not just one type of skill. You need a diverse set of skills, very good communication skills, negotiation, like you were saying, critical thinking. There's a lot involved, and I think that's very good advice that you gave. So let's move on to, I guess,
Yeah,
then
and
for yeah,
I would
go
like
ahead.
to add one line into it. That why did I say research? Because research is involved, because every single day you're getting a new requisition to fill. So I'm not a developer. I don't know what ServiceNow is, what Salesforce was. So I don't know these terms. I need to do the research about those skills, because these are technologies which a human who is coming from an MBA background might not know. So you would have to constantly do the research into that part of understanding the job description, Along with that, you need to be good at lead generation, which is something which people usually get amazed when I talk about lead generation with recruitment, but it is quite linked with each other. So at times, I need to get information about a candidate's email address and phone number, which I cannot easily find. But if I know the right tools and plugins that I can use for lead generation, I can get that data. So that you learn with the passage of time. In the initial 3-4 years, I was not able to figure out how do we get that. Once you go into that, once you do self-learning and research, you will get to know and understand these concepts. So yeah, that was the 1 minute I wanted to add.
No, definitely good advice. Good advice, because often I found um, our exposure, myself, I guess my exposure, some context as well, is because we have our HR team internally that we're working with, so we're seeing kind of the metrics that are going across from hiring from the beginning stage to the end, the top of the funnel to the bottom, lead generation to conversion, all of that as well. But one of the interesting things I found about the role of HR, having worked with our HR managers, is how much of a how comprehensive it is in terms of the different types of things you need to do. So I think it's a good thing that you mentioned as well. So you're getting that job description, and now you have to understand it, and then you have to understand sales and marketing as well for lead generation. So you are a salesperson, you are a marketer, and then you have to develop trust
We
with
are
the
salespeople.
candidates, right? You're
We need to
everything.
sell a new company every single day.
Sell a new
So
company, sell a
yeah,
job, everything, right? So it's end to end.
exactly,
And then at the same time selling
exactly.
yourself to to whether it's a client or if you're internal to other people within the company, that they can trust your opinion in the recruitment process continuously. So there's a lot involved. I think it's a good career, but it requires talent in a lot of different places. So
That's true.
in line with that, I guess moving on to the next part of the podcast I wanted to discuss also was advice from your experience for software developers. So what we found over the last, I would say, five-ish years that we've been hiring within Pakistan, was there's a diversity of perspective in terms of the average or the software developer and their understanding of how they should go through the interview process. And sometimes there's a lack of understanding in terms of what you should and should not do. And then on the other end, of course, you have the other end of the bell curve where there's people that really know how to navigate the process. So, in your opinion, let's start with kind of broad advice. What are some common mistakes that software developers make in the interview process, and what do you think that they should be doing when they're looking for a job?
Mhm. Okay, so about the interview process, I would not talk much about that because most of them are technical interviews, and usually technical recruiters are not too much involved into it. But I will talk about the recruitment and application process, which I have worked with different companies, and I have streamlined a lot of recruitment processes with different companies, working on different applicant tracking systems. So if you are talking about today's recruitment, it is very, very much aligned with the ATSs. So if you do not understand how does an ATS, applicant tracking system works, your application will not pop up in front of the recruiter's eye or the ATS eye. So you would have to see your resume as an ATS first. So if you're making your resume, make sure that your keywords are into the right positions. You don't need to use any fancy or different words into your profile just because to become a unique individual, because ATS would not you will not get to impress the ATS. So to be specific, I would say that make sure all your headings are similar to the normal headings, like your summary, your contact details, your skills and expertise, your academics. Do not use any other specific names for that, because ATS will not catch that properly, and your profile will get rejected automatically, or otherwise it would go that deep down into the rankings that you will not get a call. So understand that you don't need to be very unique into making a resume. Make a useful resume, but make sure that your data is properly input over there. Your dates are proper. Your numbers are exact. What they require. And making a CV, it's very important that you mention the right keywords to attract the applicant tracking system. or maybe if you're applying directly to an individual, make sure that your skill sets or the keywords are matching the job that you're applying for. So it is good if you have two, three different diversified resumes of yours. Obviously, there would be of you, but in some of them, maybe a digital marketer could change his profile to a growth hacker. If he is a growth hacker, he could mention something similar to that as well. Like obviously SEO, SEM, all these are different kinds. But if you amalgamate all of them, you might produce a resume of a digital marketer. So sometimes you would have to specifically use a word growth hacker. Sometimes you would have to use the word digital marketer. So it will all depend what vacancy you're applying for. But good resume checkers or good ATS systems go beyond the headings; they go into the details. So make sure that all your details are very easy to find by an ATS so that he could easily find you. So related to ATS, I could tell you that. Other than that, in the application process, if you are approaching someone on LinkedIn, that is very, very important. Like for example, I have posted a job, had a lot of people contact me, and they mention hi. I will never respond to them. They mention hello, how are you doing? I will never respond to them. The problem is that we are here not to say hi and hello. We are over here to understand what you are coming from. Like if you have applied to one of my positions and showing your interest, that's good. But either you should apply on that position, otherwise you should come up with your attached CV in the LinkedIn chat so that I could review your profile or I can go to your LinkedIn profile as well. But give some details so that a person can take next action. Give your phone number directly. Give your attach your CV in the LinkedIn chat. If you mention that, oh, refer me to any suitable position. So do you think that if you do not have time to review your resume and see what is suitable for you, do you think that we recruiters will have time to do that? So it's a very fast-paced industry. It's a very fast-paced world. So if you are not very specific about what you want in life, how would we decide? So never mention anyone that please please fix this guy for any suitable position. There is no suitable position. Always mention the exact keyword. That please hire him for Java developer, for MERN stack, for big data. Be specific. If you will not be specific, no one can find a job for you. So you would have to understand how a recruiter thinks. So generic conversations are never handy. Make sure that you are becoming very specific. Yes, you can be untargeted, but whenever your target will hit the board, it will score. But if you will be generic, it is very rare that you will get it because we talk about specifics. Because IT recruiters, the good recruiters, they are very specific about their terms, what CRMs you are going to use, what ERPs you're going to work. So these technicalities are very important for us. So if it would match to the same keyword in the job description or the same system that a company is using, that would be really good. We'll definitely call it. So these are some basic
Good
technicalities
advice.
that I can tell you. There are many others.
Of course, yeah, no, and good advice. I think I would add on to that as well with what often happens is that you can be specific or you can be upfront, but you should also consider good communication skills and the fact that you're speaking to a person on the other side. So Hassam is a human being. You're speaking to a human being. It's not a computer. It's not a LinkedIn profile. It is a person that's receiving your message. I found that that's something that's lost in the process because we often, all the time, we get interesting messages from our internal team. Individual saying just a blank message, front end developer. That's it. there's no that's the man. Okay, what do you want me to do about that? But so if you want to tell the person you're looking for a front end developer job with the type of experience like Hassam is saying, or the resume or whatever else, say that. But yes, that's specific. You want to be a front end developer. That is specific, but there's a person there. So have a conversation. Hi, my name is so and so. I'm looking for a front end developer role. I have this much experience. Do you have any vacancies? Look, there you go. Specific. Or look at their profile. Do they have any vacancies posted? Right? Like as I'm saying, you make the decision. You decide where you want the job. The recruiter I don't know how many jobs you're hiring for at a time, Sam, but I'm sure there's many, right? So, like you said, you're
There
not
are
going
too
to be,
many.
yeah. So you're not going to, oh, I got one application. Let me figure out which one this fits into, right? Let me spend my day
Yeah,
looking for your job, right? So it's not going to happen that way. Although I would say because a lot of the Pakistan's tech HR industry is, like you were saying, it's growing as it matures, or maybe there is somewhat of this right now too. You get more of the upper tier as well, right? So there's going to be more and more of that. There is some of it still, and at the upper tier, there is a customized approach, right? So when you're coming in, recruiters will look at your profile and have your resume, but that means you're at a level where you are an executive. You have tons of management executive experience. You're looking for a job where someone there's a company that's looking for a specific person for just that one role, that might be a chief technology officer, something of that nature. And in that capacity, it happens. Even in Canada, it happens. In Pakistan, it happens to some extent, and it's growing more and more every year. So in that capacity, that could happen, but that takes a lot of time, and you have to have had executive experience previously to be able to even qualify for that kind of experience. So take Hassam's advice, rewind this
exactly.
podcast, watch what he said again, listen to it. I think it was very, 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 very well said. So focus on the keywords. I think that was very good advice. So before we move on to the next part, do you have anything else for developers generally? So outside of focusing on keywords, just to recap, use standardized terms, sections, organize your resume in a way that is everyone does. You're not unique. You're not different in how you have to organize it. Use standard words. Is there anything else you feel that someone should do that's looking to advance their career in the tech industry in Pakistan?
Yeah, I would say the format of the CV should be in PDF. That is also one useful tip that I could give you, because PDF is usually much handier than Microsoft Word or any other format. So use PDF as a format for you to save or share your resume. And there are some online resume making platforms. Like one of them is resume.ai. So you can use that. You will just need to share your link with any other individual. So it would save the memory, as it will save the data as well. So you can just share the link of your online CV, and it will be easier for a recruiter to open that link also.
Perfect. Okay,
So
so now moving on to the other side of the table. So now, when it comes to, I want to keep this next section kind of broad, applicable to whether. So this applies to whether you are, let's say, you're an HR professional that it works for a tech recruitment company, right? Maybe you work for Pakistan Recruitment, or maybe you work for another tech recruitment company in Pakistan, or you are an HR professional that's internal to an organization, right? So there's an organization you're hiring for your team, or so you're looking to hire tech talent. Just general advice. So kicking off, I guess, what are common mistakes you would say that are made on the other side of the table?
yeah, I think that is much important question because most of the time what we do, like the seniors in the industry, I would say, who are into the tech recruiting, we need to become the consultative people. Like it is not only about getting the job description from them and hiring and try to find and source resources. So what now I do is that I try and consult the companies as well. Firstly, that okay, this is the profile that you're looking forward to, and that is specifically your work type. Like you want someone on site, and then you have made a budget which might not be easily possible for someone to working on to that specific experience with that budget. So at times we need to convince and negotiate with the employers first that okay, this is the talent, I can give you that talent, either I can give you that budget. So budget is something which at times become an issue. Sometimes what happens is that some of the companies are not very much flexible in working remotely or hybrid because they had some previous bad experiences due to any XYZ reasons. So now they are losing a lot of good amount of talent because they can allow people to work remotely. So this is something that they would have to learn, that they would have to make people work remotely. They need to figure it out on how could they make them accountable for what they are doing. Rather than saying no to remote resources, try and learn how could you fix that problem of making people work remotely? If you're not able to monitor them, try and learn how to monitor them. That is the only solution you have. If you will ask talented people to work on site in the kind of situation that Pakistan is, like we are, you can see the dollar rates, you can see the fuel rates, and then you ask people to work 5 days a week from the office, then I'm not against the companies who have this limitation because of a very valid reason, maybe. Maybe some of the products are made online and are not made that easily in a remote setup. Some startups require good amalgamation of people to join together and make a good product. But if every company at every stage decides to work remote on site, that would become a problem for them. They will lose talent. So in this market, employers would have to understand that, to be honest, if I become very unbiased, I would say that it is a candidate-driven market. It is not an employer-driven market anymore. This is IT industry. This is not any other industry. You would have to respect the talent, the software engineers in Pakistan and people in the IT industry that they are doing something really good and they have learned a lot compared to others in the same industries. So you would have to respect that. But at the same time, with the guidance, the suggestions that I've given to software engineers stays at the same, and they will have to learn their part as well. But employers have to be a bit softer when they are to hire the best talent in Pakistan. So they would have to understand that these limitations would not take them anywhere. They would have to understand that what are the actual mandatory parts that they need to have. Yes, on the job description, I would not say that they should compromise. In fact, what they do at times is that they compromise on the quality of a resume because someone is agreeing to work on site. I think this is not something which I would do in my company. I would not compromise on the talent just because he is not interested in working on site. So yeah, so these job type and budgetary issues, these employers need to understand. So these are the two very very important crucial points which I've recently seen in the Pakistani market. So yeah, these are the 2 points I would like to
Yes.
raise.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Good advice. Focusing on realistic expectations, I guess, on the around the budget as well. There's resources available as well, and I know there's kind of a lot of debate. There's always a lot of debate around what the right market rates are for different roles, different experience. There's resources online as well. Pasha does their survey. I think their last one is kind of outdated. It was 2 3 years ago or something like that. So it's yeah.
I know what Bacha does. Yeah, it is difficult to get the right amount of data. To be honest, that's what I would say.
Mhm. No, I definitely agree. We went through that similar journey. I think it took us a long time because we wanted to collect internal data internally at our company. We were getting 10,000 plus applications annually. We were also doing our own surveys, questionnaires. So we took that question seriously. That's why it resonates with me as well when you said budget is something you have to be realistic about. And so I think that is something that companies do need to really kind of to look at it seriously when you're going through that hiring process. That you have to understand what the market rate is, and if you're offering well below the market rate, you're going to get a bad developer or someone who is just does not care and will barely work and not provide you what you are looking for. So give market rate. I agree with that, and try to understand what that is as well. Seek professionals like Assam to try to understand what that is. Have conversations with people in the industry, and your own team as well. I think that's good because if your own team, if you're transparent with them, have a conversation with them, if you're open with them, you have that kind of dialogue, then you're building a longer term relationship with them, and so they're sticking around with you as well, and then you're more than just that distant you're my employee and I'm working for you, you're working for me kind of relationship, right? You're bridging that gap, and that helps you build a community in your company and hire more people and bring more people on to that community as well. So I think that's definitely something that I always like advocate, and I think that's essential and important. So what was it you said? Budget, and then the other thing was about remote. Okay, so this is another good topic as well. I wanted to delve a little bit deeper. see if you have, based on your experience with different companies. So ourselves too at Shadow Labs, we spent a lot of time building policies and procedures around how do you get a strong team that's remote in different places, but holding themselves accountable, committed to the task, working, and then they have the flexibility after hours if they want to work somewhere else as well and do something else, they're able to do that as well. And this is something that
Oh,
companies
okay,
have
that's good.
difficulty. So how do you,
Exactly.
how do you think companies can achieve that goal? Like, what is a way that you think, what are things that you feel companies could do to achieve a similar goal?
Well, there are very few companies which are allowing people to work on freelance project from their own premises as well. So there are certain companies like that as well. That's how they are treating their employees. I would not say that every company should do that, but understanding the need of remote working or maybe at least hybrid working. To be honest, I prefer hybrid working. 2 3 days from office is good, but yes, remote is something difficult for everyone to manage because obviously you have a family, you might not have a separate room. All these issues comes across when you start working remotely. I working remotely for almost 4 years now, and I know that maybe the door behind me it will just open and my kid will be running in, and then anything could happen. So it is like that. Remote working is not very easy. People feel that okay, yeah, remote working is a joy, but you need to understand what are the ethics of working remotely as well. So for employers, I can say that yes, these things are important, but make sure that you are giving the leverage to your employees and you are not getting blackmailed or you're not getting affected by what they are doing after the 9 hours they're giving you. Let them work on their projects. What are they doing for you? Like they're doing good for you if you're giving them time to do whatever they want to do. They will be working happily with you rather than you just make sure that they are working only for you and then asking them to be too much loyal with you. In today's market with Gen Z, it becomes very, very difficult. I hope that they will not do it, but I know a lot of people in Pakistan who are doing two full-time jobs at the same time, even though they're working in an on-site model. So
Yeah,
if you want to see the talent of Pakistanis, so you cannot beat them. They are really smart. They
100%.
will figure out a way to work into any other capacity. And rather than stopping them through these ways, try to give them a culture or an atmosphere where they feel like they are part of your family, your company's family. These are the things which people should do. Build a culture which is inclusive, which is diversified, which is giving value to the people who are working in the company. That's how they will feel close to you, and that's how they will show your loyalty. So just by saying that you are a part of a company, you can work somewhere else, I think it would be difficult for them to be loyal to the company. So they will start searching things on their own if you are not paying that good, if you are not giving them a great culture. So yeah, these
I
are the things
Yeah,
they will have to see.
I agree. I agree. Just to clarify, so no, we don't we don't say work on other stuff during our work hours, but we do acknowledge that the state of the industry is such that whether you allow after work hours someone to find another job and work on a second job or not, they're still going to do it. It's not your choice. People will. It's their free time, and they're going to say, "I have extra free time now. I want to earn more income." So whether you, if you say don't do it, they'll lie to you and do it anyways. So I think that's the
Yeah,
first starting point. But one thing I wanted to add as well, which I think is important, and which is what kind of drives our relationship with our tech teams, is just whatever you're doing, right? So maybe you want to have a second job, and your employer doesn't approve, but of course you want to. You need to make sure you're providing for your family, whatever else it is, what you owe someone and how you're working with someone. Be sincere in all the relationships. That's something that we emphasize in our relationship with our teams, is that we want commitment, honesty, sincerity with our teams to ensure that we're giving what they're owed, which is that we're giving them the respect, we're giving them the flexibility, and we're acknowledging that you're giving us just as much as we're giving you, right? This is a mutual relationship. It is never one way. And I think what I've found
Mm.
in our time in Pakistan is that both sides feel that they're owed from the other side, right? So like the company says you owe me work, and then the employee says you owe me money, right? So nobody is thinking like I owe you and you. We're both in this, right? We're together. This is not where's my money, where's my work, right? So have that respectful relationship where you are understanding that you're together. You're not trying to get something from them. You're working on this together. And if you do that, I guarantee you this, because I've been in the
Exactly.
tech industry in Toronto, New York as well, big hubs, international hubs, and I've seen the culture that drives companies that become billion-dollar companies. And I've seen the culture that drives
Exactly.
developers and individuals that exceed to the highest level in their career. And that culture never, ever, ever starts with when am I getting what's owed, right? It starts with how do I show, how do I give what I promised, right? And I make sure that I give it honestly, sincerely. And once people do that at the highest level, then things come, money comes, careers advances come, company grow, everything comes. So starts with sincerity, starts with holding yourself accountable. And then if you find, and again, I'll do the other side. If you find, again, I'll end off with this too before I ask another one final question as well. If you find that the other side is not being sincere, then leave them, right? Then you leave them. And if you feel that whether your employee or your company is not being sincere towards you, then you leave them. But you
Mm.
should always start with you being sincere, and then see how the person responds. Okay, they don't have good values. I can find another job. Hassam, find me another job. And then make sure you're
Mm.
specific with your message to him. But so before we leave off, now, if someone wants to hire to get services from Pakistan recruitment, what is the best step to take? Is there how should they contact you, or who should they contact?
Yeah, so we have a website with the name www.pakistanrecruitment.com, and anyone, if you are an employer or someone in the IT industry, you can go over there. You can contact our contact us page, and if you are a software engineer, we have a join us page as well. You can join us over there, submit your resume. You will have the option to choose your number of years, your tech stack. You can come over there and you can join us as a available talent. On our cover page, you will see the recent hires that we have done for different remote employees and some hybrid employees in Pakistan. And then there are some people that have moved to outside Pakistan as well. So we are helping people, and we are making good relationships with the different countries abroad as well. And we are working on the relocation assistant hiring as well. So inshallah soon we will announce that, and we are working with the relocation to different countries. Most probably we will start with the UK. And yes, we have alhamdulillah recruited a lot of people over the years, and someone who will go to our website will definitely see the recommendations that we have already on our website from different entrepreneurs globally. So yeah, this is what I can tell you. And we have a job posting
Okay.
page as well. Anyone who wants to see what the active positions, they can go over there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you for joining us on this podcast, Hassam. I'm going to our team will make
Thank
sure
you.
that the link for pakistanrecruitment.com, it will be in the bio if you're interested in learning more, whether you're looking for a job or you're a company that's looking to hire. It was a great session, and I think there was a lot of valuable advice throughout the discussion. Whether you're a software developer, whether you're hiring, whatever part of the tech industry you're in. I think there was a lot of good advice in the episode. Thank you, Hassam. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Umar. Thanks for your time. Take care, brother.
Pakistani developers, are you tired of constantly switching jobs or working on boring websites and WordPress plugins? Do you want to leave a legacy, something that you are proud of? I have good news for you. Codecast Pakistan is sponsored by Shadow Labs, and Shadow Labs is currently hiring. Here are 3 reasons why the best developers across Pakistan are working at Shadow Labs. Number 1, Shadow Labs was formed in 2010 and has received numerous tech disruption awards. Our unique partnerships with major Canadian corporations has positioned us for global success. Number 2, Shadow Labs is a product company that is disrupting the legal industry in Canada. Shadow Labs is on track to change legal services globally. And number 3, Shadow Labs is the next Pakistani success story. It is like joining Kareem before it was Kareem. Shadow Labs has strong development and operation teams based out of Pakistan. And there's good news. We are currently looking for developers across Pakistan. Shadow Labs is currently hiring for a few roles, including HTML developers, Laravel developers, and full stack developers. We are hiring across senior and mid-level roles. We also provide different hiring options, including full-time roles and flexible part-time roles. This is not a website or WordPress development job. We are building 3 unique products that will change the world. If you have big dreams and ambitions, this is the place for you. If you want to build something that you are proud of, this is the place for you. If you want to be part of Pakistan's next biggest tech company, this is the place for you. If you are a senior or mid-level HTML developer, Laravel developer, or full stack developer, listen here. Whether you want a full-time job or a flexible part-time job, click the link below and fill out the form. Join the legal technology revolution and contribute to Pakistan's next biggest tech startup. Leave your legacy.